Commander Varel of the Aurix Fleet had never doubted the Galactic Council's reports before, but something about Earth bothered him from the moment he first saw the old data files that labeled the blue planet as uninhabitable, unstable, and not suitable for contact. The reports claimed the planet's atmosphere was unpredictable, its surface dangerous, and its inhabitants, if any existed at all, were primitive and far too chaotic for safe interaction. Yet when Varel intercepted a strange broadcast coming from the region, a mixture of music, friendly greetings, and what sounded like open invitations sent out toward the stars, he felt an unusual spark of curiosity. Why would a planet marked as dead send signals full of life? The Council dismissed the data as old human transmissions bouncing through space, but Varel wanted answers, and so he convinced a small exploration team to join him on a quiet mission toward the blue world that had been forgotten by most of the galaxy. As their sleek silver craft approached Earth's orbit, the crew stared out of the viewing panel in disbelief. The planet glowed with vibrant oceans, swirling clouds, and night-side lights that twinkled like constellations against the dark surface. It was nothing like the silent wasteland they had been taught to expect. Even before they could run their scans, a message flashed across their communication system, simple, friendly, and unbelievably direct. "Hello, visitors. If you can read this message, you are welcome to come over. We would love to meet you." The words felt both strange and inviting, and the crew exchanged uncertain glances. No species had ever greeted the Aurix this way, and Varel felt a strange pull, as if the planet itself was urging them to discover the truth. They began scanning the surface, expecting traps or environmental hazards, but each reading returned the same result. Breathable atmosphere, stable terrain, and countless signs of intelligent life spread across the continents. Confusion turned into quiet excitement as they descended toward a research base near the coastline, guided by glowing beacons clearly set up to welcome visitors. As the landing gear extended, Varel's thoughts raced, wondering whether Earth's inhabitants were friendly, unpredictable, or simply unaware of how unusual their invitation was. The ship touched the ground with a soft vibration, and for a moment everything was still. Then the hatch opened to the sight of humans standing in a neat line, hands raised in greeting, smiling as though they had been waiting for this moment their whole lives. The wind carried a mix of ocean air and soft electronic hums from the surrounding equipment, and Varel felt a wave of uncertainty rise in his chest. What kind of species greeted unknown travelers with such trust? When he stepped onto the soil, the humans stepped forward slowly, careful not to make sudden movements, as if they understood the delicate nature of first contact. Their leader, a calm woman with observant eyes, introduced herself with simple words, speaking slowly and clearly so the translation device could follow. Her voice held no fear, only a strange confidence that made the alien crew feel unexpectedly safe. She explained that humans had long believed they were not alone, and had been sending friendly invitations into space for decades, hoping that one day someone would hear them. Varel listened closely, studying their expressions, gestures, and tone, searching for deception but finding none. The base around them was simple yet efficient, filled with screens displaying star maps, energy readings, and scientific data. It was clear that humans were not as primitive as the Council had claimed. In fact, they seemed curious, adaptable, and determined to reach out even when they did not know who or what might answer. As the humans offered to show them around, the Aurix crew hesitated at the threshold, unsure if crossing deeper into this unknown facility was wise, but the welcoming warmth in the humans' eyes eased their worry. Varel felt a sense of suspense building, the kind that came before discovering something that could change everything he knew about the galaxy. And as he stepped forward into the brightly lit hallway of the human base, he realized that nothing about Earth matched the stories he had been told. In that moment, he understood one thing clearly. This planet was not uninhabitable at all, and whatever awaited inside could either be a remarkable beginning or a dangerous mistake. But there was no turning back now. As Commander Varel walked deeper into the brightly lit hallway, he sensed that every step he took pulled him further into a truth the Galactic Council had long ignored, and his crew followed closely, their eyes shifting between excitement and nervous wonder. The human leader, Dr. Elena Ward, guided them gently, answering their questions with simple explanations that revealed more than she realized. The walls were lined with displays showing human achievements, space probes, communication satellites, scientific milestones, and each image challenged the Aurix belief that Earth was a world without progress. Virel felt the suspense tightening around him as Elena opened a door to a wide chamber filled with quiet humming machines and shimmering screens, each showing live data from across the planet. The Aurix crew exchanged looks of disbelief. Earth had advanced systems, organized research teams, and a deep desire to understand the universe. When Elena invited them to share their own knowledge, Virel hesitated, unsure whether revealing too much about the Aurix was wise, but her calm curiosity made it impossible to stay silent. He explained how the Galactic Council classified worlds, how Earth had been dismissed due to old data, and how no one had ever bothered to check again. Elena listened with an expression that was not anger but determination, as if every word confirmed something she had quietly suspected. She then showed them recordings of human broadcasts sent into space, music, greetings, signals of hope. Explaining that humans believed connection was worth the risk, Virel felt a shift in his chest, a realization that this species lived not by fear but by reaching outward, always trying, always searching. As they moved to another room, the atmosphere grew even more suspenseful, for inside, humans worked on small spacecraft prototypes, experimenting with engines that hummed with unfamiliar energy patterns. The Aurix engineers leaned forward, fascinated by the humans' willingness to test ideas that other species would have abandoned long ago. Elena admitted they still had many failures, but each failure only pushed them to try again. The Aurix crew began whispering among themselves. This resilience, this curiosity, this refusal to stop. It was nothing like what they had been told. When the humans offered a demonstration, Virel agreed, though his heart beat faster, aware that this moment could reshape the future of both species. The humans activated a prototype engine, and the room filled with a soft glow, gentle vibrations, and a deep harmonic pulse. Though imperfect, it showed potential far beyond what the Council believed Earth capable of. Virel felt as if he were watching the beginning of something that should not be ignored. After the demonstration, Elena guided them outside, where the sun dipped low above the ocean, painting the sky in warm colors. She spoke with quiet pride about Earth's struggles, storms, challenges, setbacks, and how humans adapted through their ability to learn and rebuild. The wind carried the scent of salt in distant cities, and the Aurix crew stood in silence, absorbing the truth that Earth was not a broken world, but a living one. Virel sensed a final test approaching when Elena asked them respectfully why the Aurix had come. He chose honesty, explaining that curiosity drove him here, but now he believed the galaxy needed to understand humanity's potential. Elena smiled gently, saying that humans had always hoped someone out there would see them not as a threat but as partners. Suspense tightened again as Virel opened his communicator, knowing the report he was about to send would challenge centuries of assumptions. His crew gathered around, their expressions firm with agreement. He recorded a message to the Galactic Council, not with defiance but with certainty. Earth was not uninhabitable, not unstable, not primitive. It was a world filled with people who welcomed strangers, who reached for the stars even when the stars did not answer, who carried a courage the Council had overlooked. After sending the message, Virel felt a quiet relief settle over him. As the Aurix prepared to depart, Elena offered them a final gift, an open invitation to return anytime, not as visitors, but as friends. When the Aurix ship lifted from the ground, Virel looked back at the small base glowing softly in the twilight, and he understood that something unforgettable had begun. The suspense of the unknown no longer felt heavy. Instead, it felt like the start of a connection that could reshape the galaxy. And as the ship rose into the sky, carrying the truth with it, Virel whispered a silent promise to himself. The galaxy would learn what he had learned today, and Earth would never again be ignored.